We think you should know that Imperfect Heroes podcast is a production of Little Hearts Academy USA.
You're listening to episode 140 of Imperfect Heroes, Insights into Parenting, the perfect podcast for imperfect parents looking to find joy in their experience of raising children in an imperfect world. And I'm your host, DJ Stutz. Welcome, heroes and heroines, to another episode of Imperfect Heroes. And, I call you heroes and heroines because, first off, you're parents. That's a big first step, right? And then, also, you are listening to a podcast looking to find new ideas, to better hone your skill, to increase your art of parenting. And so, kudos to you for that. I really admire you for reaching out and looking for new answers and new points of view. So, this is the last of our 4 episodes on teaching and developing patience in our kiddos and in ourselves. So, before we dive into today's episode, let's chat for just a moment. If you're a parent, chances are you've had those head-shaking moments of frustration with yourself, your partner, and even your kids. And it's natural to feel a bit defeated at times and wondering why things seem to be going so wrong. But here's the thing, you are not alone. Are you just feeling tired of the constant battles and the tantrums? Trust me, we've all been there. But fear not, because there's hope on the horizon. Sometimes all it takes is a fresh perspective from someone with the right knowledge, the right experience, and expertise to help steer you towards stronger relationships and more confident parenting. So imagine having someone by your side who can offer new approaches and insights, someone who can guide you toward fostering the values that matter most to you while uncovering the strengths within your family. Well, that's where I come in. And as a mentor and a coach, I am here to help you navigate the unique dynamics of your family, asking the tough questions and then finding joy not only in the good times, but also during the challenging times as well. Are you ready to take the first step? Let's go ahead and schedule a no-cost 50-minute conversation where you and I can identify your challenges. We can explore your core values and then outline a path forward for each cherished member of your family. Simply click on the calendar link in the show notes below and book your appointment. And remember, you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain. So let's go ahead and embark on this journey towards a happier and more harmonious family life. All right, well, we know patience is a virtue. In fact, it's one of the gifts of the Spirit, and it's mentioned many times in the Bible. But if you look at Colossians chapter 3, and it's like verses 12 to 13, we are encouraged to clothe ourselves with compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience when we're dealing with others. And this actually includes our kids. So what does patience really do for our kids? Well, studies have found out that children who have a stronger sense of patience have stronger relationships with their peers, they do better academically, they're less likely to indulge in drugs or even be involved in crimes as they get older. Patience leads to delayed gratification, and that actually can lead to more career success, financial success, better health, more tolerance, and stronger family relationships when they become adults. Patient children, my words in my mouth, my goodness. Patient children also have an easier time while they are growing up. They just don't get as upset. They're better communicators, there's less drama in their life, they're more confident, and they're also more persistent in learning and then trying new things. So parents often need to check ourselves and see where we are on the patience scale and what we are modeling for our kiddos. So what do we show when we are waiting in line or on the road? What are the things that make us impatient? So think about those things. Come up with a plan for your own self-improvement, and then you're going to be able to model that better, and your kids will learn it faster when you're showing them that great example. So we want to be sure that we keep things positive. So teaching small children to be patient is more like just teaching them a skill. It takes practice, lots of practice, every day. Young children won't understand the future benefits of patience. You're not going to tell them, oh, you're going to get better grades and you'll have stronger relationships as you get older. They're not going to relate to that, right? And so some of the things that we're going to teach them, and as they learn, some kids are going to learn faster than others, as it is with everything, right? Some kids are naturally born to have a disposition and a personality that leads them to an easier outlook, I guess, or acceptance of patience. And other kids are just so full of energy and they just have those la-la personalities. And it's going to take them a little longer. Here's something, though, that you can do to kind of see where your kid is on the patience scale. And so it's known as the marshmallow test or the treat test. And if you Google the marshmallow test, actually, you'll find videos of it, and so you can look at that, and some of them are pretty funny, I'll have to tell you. But what you're going to do is you're going to tell your child, here is a marshmallow. You can use a cookie, you can use a Skittle, whatever it is that you have around. And you can say, here's a Skittle, kiddo, and you can eat it right now, or you can wait 5 minutes. And if you wait the whole 5 minutes, you're going to get another one. So you'll have two. So you can eat it now and have one, or you can wait until the timer goes off and then you'll have two. But it's up to you. You do what you want. And then you're going to walk away, have that Skittle or whatever it is, the marshmallow or the cookie or whatever, and have them sit at the table, and that is right in front of them. And then you're going to walk away and you're going to do your stuff, and you have the timer, you've set the timer, and so the kid is on their own, and they're going to make a decision that they're going to make, right? And so when the timer goes off, you come back, and if the cookie or the treat is still there, oh, you waited that whole 5 minutes? I'm so proud of you. Here's another treat, right? Or, oh, you chose to eat your treat first. That's fine. I hope you enjoyed it. They do not get a second treat. But this is going to give you an idea of how they are doing. One of the things that you can do during this test even is set up your cell phone and so that it's kind of seeing where they are. So while you walk away, you're not going to know, did they eat it fast right away? Did they struggle with it? Did they maybe take a little nibble hoping that you didn't see? There's a lot of ways to get through that. And so then you can go back and look at it and probably get a great big kick out of how your kid did and how they managed to wait or how they didn't manage to wait. And so it's kind of a fun thing to have and to do. But the reality is, kids really struggle with the concept of time, and that makes it hard for them to understand how to be patient. And so it's easier if you can just make it visual. So if you have a timer, they have timers, and then when you set it for how much time, the wait time is in red. And so they can actually see that red portion getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so then they know, oh, when the red's all gone, it's going to ding, and then your waiting time is over. And so that can help them. And so they can get used to what 5 minutes looks like. What does 10 minutes look like? And they're going to start developing that sense of time and understanding how it works. But there are other things that you can do beyond timers. You can do counting, right? While you're waiting, you can sing a song and say, okay, we're going to sing 3 songs and then we'll do whatever. And you can even have a song on a radio or on your phone or whatever, a favorite song, and play that. So there are some things that you can do to help them come to understand what time means. They understand a song is pretty short. Okay, I have to sing it 3 times, so we have to do it 3 times. Okay. Or a movie. They know about how long a movie is, especially their favorite one, right? And so you can say, oh, we're not at Grandma's house yet. You have probably another movie. And then when the movie's over, we'll be close to Grandma's, or we'll be at Grandma's, or depending on where you are. But you can help them understand by using things that are familiar to them that they can relate to. And so that really does help. But be patient with them while we're teaching them patience. We have to show it too, because they are just learning. How many times are you and I not patient? I have my moments, and I've been on this earth for, a year or two. So, and they've been on so much less time. We haven't even really perfected our sense of patience in ourselves. So how can we expect a 2, 3, 4, 6-year-old to perfect theirs? So we need to be patient. We need to be supportive and understand that it's normal for them to say, is it done? Are we done yet? Nope, we have X amount of time. It'll come. And so one of the things, though, that you will be able to cut down on that frequency of asking, and again, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a skill they're having to learn. But if they know that they can count on you, when you say 10 minutes, you mean 10 minutes. If it was 15, a half an hour, whatever, they know that when that timer goes off, or whatever it is, however you've decided to count the time, that then they are actually going to get to do whatever it is they wanted. And so be aware of that, because if you don't, if the timer goes off and you think, oh, geez, maybe they didn't hear. Been there, done that too. I just have a few more dishes to do, or, I just have a couple more minutes on this. But they will learn, A, not to trust you. And B, they are not going to get that sense of time where 5 minutes is 5 minutes or 10 minutes. So if you make 5 minutes into 7 or 8 minutes or even more, then they're going to get confused on what that 5 minutes really looks like. And so we want to really help them along in that part. And then help them just actually experience the wait. And so I know it's very easy to pop on a video or a cartoon or whatever on our phone or on an iPad or something and put it in front of them. And yeah, they'll do better. They'll be quiet, but they are not going to understand a sense of time because they are so distracted. And they're really not waiting. They're not having to really practice being patient because they're being entertained otherwise. And here's the funny thing. They will not want to wait, right? I don't want to wait. Well, here, play with your iPad. When 5 minutes is up, then you'll be able to get it. Then when the 5 minutes is up, they don't want to give up the iPad. Isn't that so true? So let's kind of avoid it, especially at the beginning. I can see if you're in the car and you're in a long drive, throwing a movie on, that's absolutely like life-saving for all kinds of reasons. But you're going to want to be able to otherwise teach them that, yeah, there's virtue and there's value in being able to wait and to put off something. Help them be present and be thoughtful about the wait. And so again, you can use songs, you can sing with them, but you're interacting with them. And these aren't things that are going to help them lose track of time. If you're singing, if you're counting, if you're playing some kind of game with each other, and that's very different than putting a screen in front of them. And so that's something that will actually help them. Find ways to just laugh with them and be a little silly while you're doing the wait, right? And so, you can be, maybe they're in the buggy at the store and you're waiting for a checkout, right? And you can guess, ooh, I wonder how many songs we're going to have to sing before we get up, because we don't have a specific time. We don't know if it's going to be 5 minutes or 2 minutes, because maybe the person in front of us has a bunch of coupons or they have to do a price check or whatever. And oh, please, no. But that's a great time to talk to our kids and say, oh, I wonder how many times we can do X before it's our turn. And we're talking about and using those terms before it's our turn. And we are waiting, and we are waiting patiently. And in fact, that's one of the songs that I used with my kindergartners when we would have to stand in line in the hallway or wherever, and we had to wait for us to move forward or to go get lunch or whatever it was. And I will sing it for you, and I'm sorry for my voice, but it's the only one I got. So here you go. It is. I am waiting patiently, patiently, patiently. I am waiting patiently for my turn. Or maybe it's for my mother or brother or dad or whatever we're waiting for and what's causing us to wait. Maybe dad's just running a little late so we can sing that. How many times should we sing our patience song? And how long do you think it'll take them to get ready? So I would even use that as kids were lining up to go outside, but some kids were very fast with getting their coats on. Others took a little longer. So the ones who were fast and got to get in line sang the song, and we would tick-tock to the rhythm, and they actually did enjoy that. And it actually got the other kids to hustle up because they liked singing the song as well. So you're going to find some of these clues and some of these activities that are going to work with you. But when you're doing something, really be honest about how long it's going to take. So don't say soon. That means nothing to them. And I know when you're, in the car and you're we'll be there when we get there, right? I got that one when I was a kid. It doesn't help them understand. And so there's some things other than or extra that you can do. One of these I have available on my website, which is www.littleheartsacademyusa.com, and it's called a travel map. And in the travel map, you can download pictures of landmarks that you're going to pass along the way. Of course, the longer the trip, the more landmarks. And you want to make sure that you've got them frequent enough. They're not waiting an hour for the next landmark. Just kind of plan it and see some of the things that they are going to be passing. And then you can say, oh, we passed that one. That's on your list. Let's cross it off. Oh, we're getting closer. How many more do we need to pass? And then they're engaged. They're watching for it. They're crossing it off. And then they can see how long it's going to be. I call those the Are We There Yet maps. And so that's one of the things that you can do in the car to help them understand we've got these things to do, and then we'll be at Disneyland, or we'll be at the beach, or we'll be at the mountains, or wherever it is that you're going. And so another thing that you can use, of course, and I'm sure you all know this one, but how many sleeps, right? If it's going to be days, so if it's a week or so, you can say, 5 more sleeps, and then this wonderful thing's going to happen. And so they'll check in the morning, how many more sleeps? Or they'll say, 4 more sleeps now. They'll get excited and be involved with that. You can also use a calendar to mark off and put a star on the day that Grandpa's visiting, or that we're going to leave for vacation, or before school starts. All of those things, you can put a star, and then you can cross them off and see how many empty squares there are on the calendar to what you want to do to get you where you want to be. And so they can really get engaged with that. And then they're getting an idea of days, weeks, and months. If they're really young, in fact, don't tell them about it at all until it's like a week before, and then you can do your countdown. Older kids, they can get more excited and they understand. And so, but you still want to mark it on the calendar. And even if it's a couple months out, you can have things listed that, okay, we need to make sure we have this ready before we go. If you need passports or some of the other things that they can do to help get ready or plan for, or make a list and make sure we don't forget anything. And so if you think of something, because we only have, a month left, and that's a lot to do. And so help me figure out, are we forgetting anything? And so now they're helping with preparing. And that's for your older kids that will do it. And by older, I mean 3rd grade up. They can do that. All right. And then we want to encourage them to participate in some slower activities that take a little more time. So maybe something like in gardening and helping them plant and watch it grow. You can go out with a ruler and say, it grew this much. It's bigger today than it was yesterday. You can make a chart. You can do whatever. And then not only are they learning to be patient in wanting the outcome of having a pumpkin or picking some peas. Oh, fresh peas. They're so good. Or strawberries being ready. But now they're participating. They're learning about science. They're learning where food comes from. They're learning about all kinds of things just in that one activity. It's not only for patience. Puzzles are great for kids. When they're 18 months, they have little wooden puzzles that have they're just matching the shape to the shape. And so it's easier for them to manipulate. Some of the puzzles even have a handle on them. So they're easier for the kids to use and to build those fine motor skills. Fine motor skills are like your fingers, the small little muscles that are in your body. And mostly it's your hand. And how to manipulate and use things. That's going to help them with learning how to write, how to play instruments, how to do those small little things that they need to put Legos together. That's all fine motor skills. And so puzzles is great for that. And then, of course, as they get older, you can use bigger ones that have more pieces, or those giant floor puzzles. Oh my gosh. Even at 4 and 5, they love those. And definitely in kindergarten, they love those. So those are some things. Treasure hunts. Oh my goodness, how fun are those, right? And so when they're little, you're only going to have maybe 1 or 2 or maybe 2 clues, and then they'll get what they want. As they get older, though, you can extend it out and have harder clues to figure out. And maybe it becomes something that they work on for a few days. It's got to be a pretty big prize at the end, though, for something that's that. And so you want to encourage them and have clues that are maybe a little more complicated, and they have to think things through. You're doing a lot more than teaching patience with just that activity. Building something together, whether it's Legos or out in the backyard using sticks to make a fort or to build a fairy town for the fairies and stuff. And you can get very intricate, and it's amazing how even young kids can really fixate on that and want to maybe go back to it. So it's not even a one-time thing. Oh, we've got to go in and get lunch. Let's leave it here. And we're not going to ruin it or anything. Let's go eat, and then we can come back and work on it some more. And so those are some things that you can do that help them learn patience. It also helps them to learn delayed gratification, which can be a wonderful thing for them to have. And so we need to remember that we really need to be patient in teaching patience. This is a journey. It's not a destination. Like I said before, I'm still working on it. Yeah, I'm old. So we're all on this journey of becoming more patient, more controlled in managing our emotions and our frustrations, and realizing, okay, I've just got to get through this, right? It's the dance recital of the nightmare. And you thought it was just going to be 3 or 4 dances, and it turns out it's going to be an hour long. I remember one time we went to one of my granddaughter's concerts at her middle school, and she had a little guitar solo in the concert. And so we were very excited, and we all go and show up, and that thing was 2.5 hours long. We were all working on patience that night. We had no idea it was going to be that long, but we're all working on the journey. And so then even at times when you're impatient and you catch yourself being impatient, it's like, oh my goodness, I am not being very patient, am I? All right, I need to think of a way to help me pass the time. We're stuck on this freeway. There must be an accident up there. And it's frustrating that we're not moving, and I really want to get home. And when they hear you say those words and then coming up with your own path on, I just, you know what, there's nothing I can do about it. So I might as well enjoy it and come up with some fun things that you can do. Listening to songs, doing your car karaoke, and see who can sing the song the loudest or who knows the song the best. You can come up with all kinds of things to do to help you wait. But if they hear you actually talking to yourself and verbally thinking things through, they're going to start understanding the process a little better themselves. And then the big payoff is when you see them actually talking to themselves, working their way through a situation where I don't want to do this, but I have to do this, so I'm going to do this and just get it done. And then I will be able to go and have some fun. And it's a really cute conversation when you finally catch them on doing it. But you have to show them and example that to them. And you have to do it a lot, because it takes a lot of repetition. And so remember, we always want to set them up for success. And so we know that 2 2-year-old, a 1-year-old is not going to be able to wait nearly as long as a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, right? And so we want to make sure that when we're asking them to be patient, that we're doing it within realistic expectations. And honestly, like I said before, some kids are naturally more patient than others. And so then you have to take that into consideration as well. And maybe there are 2 kids in the same family and they are very different. And I know you know what I'm talking about. And so just remember to make it appropriate for what your child can do and then push them just a little further. Just a little more. Oh, this is a record. We're going to go for the record, okay? Are you ready? All right, we have to do whatever we need to do. Let's get this job done. Let's see if we can do it really, really fast and break the record. And then once we get this thing done that we didn't want to do, we can move on to doing something more fun. Find ways to engage them with it and help them. But just remember that you really do want to set them up. Don't ask them to be patient when they have been in school all day. They come home, they're hungry, and they've been sitting or whatever. They need time outside. They need time with you. And not just sitting, but doing fun things. Go outside in the backyard and run around and throw the ball and allow them to get that energy out before we're asking them to be patient. And so we're setting them up for success. And you know, there's great power in patience. Then there are so many benefits. And the funny thing is, the benefits that are there for our kids are benefits for us as well. And so we will find our own relationships and our own ability to get things done. And all of that's going to improve as we work on it on ourselves and not just throwing it on our kids, right? And so I am here to help you on this journey. And, you know, coaching families and helping teachers is a total joy to me. It's my favorite thing. And I love seeing the results that we can achieve together and to see that things are getting better and happier and there's more fun in parenting because we have to find that joy. It's for such a short time. And I know when you're in it, just like with our kids, when you're in the middle of it, it seems like, when will this end? I can't take this any longer. And then your kids are going to grow up and they're going to go to college and they're going to leave. And you're going to wish for those days that you were dealing with all of this stuff. So recognize that and enjoy it. If your kid's having a tantrum, it's like, oh, let's take a picture and save that for the wedding album, for the wedding video, whatever it is. But find a way to enjoy it and not get frustrated with it, but not give in. You don't have to be angry and yelling to stand your ground. And you can even laugh and have some fun with them and then distract them, veer them off, give them something else to do. But recognize that your boundaries are your boundaries. And we'll talk some more about that in the coming months, right? Let's set up for a no-cost 50-minute Zoom call where we can get to know one another. We can talk about the joys that are going on and the concerns that you have, and then maybe do a little problem solving. So my calendar link is in the show notes. Please take advantage of that. I love having these conversations with parents and with families. Now, before you go, I want you, please just subscribe or follow, depending on what format you're listening on. Please leave a rating and a review. That really does help us beat the powers that be and help more people to find us. And then, of course, the best thing, tell a friend and have them come and join us in the Imperfect Heroes family. So next week, we are moving on, and I have this fun mom. I mentioned her a little bit earlier, and she is in the middle of it with her little kids and working to keep everyone happy and to keep everything going. And so we are going to talk with my friend, Lindsay Terry, about parenting right in the middle of it. So I hope you'll join us then for that. And remember that you can always see me on Facebook every Tuesday at 7 o'clock on my Imperfect Heroes page. And then on Instagram, I also have Imperfect Heroes Podcast. And I will be on Instagram Live every Tuesday at 7:30. So come join me for that. You can always, ask questions and we'll have a good time. So until next week, Let's find joy in parenting. See you guys.